All right. The man, the myth, the legend. He was a guy who said about 3 weeks ago, I mean, go ahead and stick your chest out, Zim. Zim Whodey joins us. I mean, right there, savage mode. You were the guy that said it. We run the clip all the time. Even when I'm not going to say darkest hour, because it certainly wasn't the darkest hour. But you were the guy that said, look, Thom, nobody wants to face the Bengals.
Did you see Zach Taylor's speech yesterday?
I did.
He might be watching your show because he said exactly those same words.
I think he might be watching Cincinnati.
He might be watching Cincinnati. Hey, real quick, before we get into I want to say something about what I think Brandon Sejo is doing with the mental health show.
Yeah.
That I just saw the commercial. Amazing. That is something that has to be talked about, and I'm so glad he's doing that. I, too, struggled with depression earlier in my life. I got older. I learned a lot of different things. I woke up some days, and then I said, you know what? Live today like it's your last. That's why it's hard for me to sit stagnant in like a negative spot because I've gone through a lot. And I think a lot of people got to have those conversations. And I think as men, any color, they tell us don't cry, or they tell you what to do. But what they don't do is tell you to have somebody directly there that loves you and that wants to hear what you got to say or about any of your problems. I call my friends and I give them wellness checks all the time. And I don't call and just say, hey, bro, you all right? Like, I actually say, let's go meet up. Let me talk to you directly in the space. And I think shows like that have to be done because they teach us not to express ourselves. It translates to sports too. They don't like me saying all this positive stuff about the Bengals for some odd reason, but I just keep on going. But I just wanted to commend them for that show. We need more of that. And
I think Brandon, that's very kind of you to point out. And Brandon's in here right now, and I'm sure he appreciates it. I think he ought to have you on the show.
Let's do it. He knows my number. Hit me up. We could talk. I've always had confidence, but I had some times where I didn't know. Maybe my son helped me out with that. My wife helped, but I lean on people around. I lean on Thom. You
don't lean on me, brother. You be barking up the wrong tree. Brandon, you want to jump in there?
I won't be able to hear what Zim's saying because I don't have a headset on. But I was listening on YouTube. Thank you, Zim. That means a lot. And I do have your number. It's just a matter if you reply or not.
Hit me up, bro. I got you.
I can't hear what he said back.
He said, "Hit him up." He says, "You know better than that."
I know. I love you, Zim.
All right, Zim, let's get to it. Your overall impressions of the Cincinnati Bengals and the victory yesterday over the Tennessee Titans.
Business as usual. I like to post a lot of receipts beforehand. For whatever reason, there were a lot of people that just didn't think that we would win the football game, and I didn't understand it. Maybe because I'm a homer. Maybe I'm just a Bengals fan. I just didn't get it. Even without Jamar Chase, I just didn't get it, and I still don't. I look at different things in that game, in the Steelers game, and I think that some of the early calls made the score even better than what it probably could have been. But it is what it is. It's football. Tennessee plays a tough brand of football, highly respected, no joke. They're going to give a lot of teams some problems, and we might see them again. But it's business as usual. Like, we are who we say we are, and I keep on asking people, I don't know why anybody would doubt a team with a top 10 defense coming into the game. Now it's probably top 8 after the game, right?
Yep.
Top 10 defense, top 5 quarterback, top 3 wide receiving core, great kicker. Look at these teams that they're crowning around us. Have you seen the month of Josh Allen? Have you seen the month of, like some of these other guys that they saying, like the Chiefs, yeah, they got some stuff. Like, I like them, but you think they're explosive as the Bengals with Jamar Chase? They're not. They're a good team. They got a great coach, and I respect them. But people got to understand we're the defending conference champions for a reason. It's not by luck. It's not by chance. It's a well-assembled team. It's always any given Sunday. But the teams that everybody's saying that we got to play or whatever, they're looking at us. Go read their stuff on Twitter. Go talk. Go look. Like, I'm in Twitter spaces. I go and sit in their spaces sometimes and listen to them talk. They don't want to play the Bengals. I don't know why Bengals fans are acting like, oh, man, we got a tougher look. They're thinking the same thing about you. Maybe they aren't telling you directly, but I promise you, the Bengals are still the most dangerous team in the National Football League. Joe Burrow just did that, 280 yards with no Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon. Who's doing that? Nobody. Nobody's doing this. And every single week we keep on showing you, but for whatever reason, maybe it's a good thing that we're underdogs, and maybe it's a good thing that we're back against the wall. But at some point, the narrative is going to leave, and I'm going to just be sitting here with my chest poked out again, saying, hey, Thom, look at me. Look at this big old chest. I haven't been going to the gym, but you know what I've been doing? I've been telling all these people online that we're the real deal. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. I mean, you have been the guy all along that has said it. You know, the thing, Zim, you know, the thing that surprised me, okay, and I'm going to be honest about it, because I wondered if the Bengals could be a smash you in the mouth physical football team. Oftentimes when you got guys like Burrow, I mean, you of course you want Joe Burrow throwing the ball and the receivers they have, even minus Chase, they still got really good players, and they had some guys step up, which we'll get to in a minute. But, you know, Tennessee, I think, is sort of the standard, if you will, in the NFL for playing physical smash-mouth football. That's who they are. They don't pretend to be anything else. And yet the Bengals, I thought, were more physical yesterday. Now, be honest. Did that surprise you a little bit, Zim? Come on now.
Thom, we went there last year with guys off the street like Zach Kerr that people have never even heard of, and Clay Johnsons of the world, and stopped them boys on 2-point conversions and 4th downs and 1s. We got the heart of a champion in us. You know, we haven't done what we set out to do, you know, as far as like our goals on world championships. But put this into perspective. You're a little bit older than me, just a little bit. The Colts are the only team that has won a championship out of that division. Probably the weakest division in football.
Yep.
It's a reason why the Ravens, that's the only one. You could go back to the AFL East or something like that and grab another championship. But as long as the current conference, the way that the division, the way it's set up, is the Peyton Manning Colts. But yet you got these guys, or at least they're telling me online, the Bengals are poverty or whatever. Bro, we have to play the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Cleveland Browns every year, who house the most championships like in all the professional sports. Anybody calling the Bengals finesse or like something that they're not because they like Joe Burrow looking cool with some cool hair and Jamar Chase posing for GQ are sadly mistaken, because the DJ Readers of the world are the guys that are unheralded, the guys that they don't talk about, but they are a force. And it's been like this. It's been like this. When it was whether it was Geno Atkins or Pecco or Coy Bacon or all these guys, you had to be tough. Or you couldn't be in the North. In the last 10 years, the Bengals had 3 division championships, and the Ravens have 3, and the Steelers have 4. The Bengals have always been smash mouth up front. 2005 houses one of the best offensive line smash mouth up front. Maybe in you know, like in my recent memory, you know, I'm not an older guy, but like anybody telling you that the Titans are so smash mouth, look who they're smashing the mouths of. Hello? Like you wouldn't do that in the AFC North. Come on, bro.
No, in fact, Charles Davis, who was a color commentator on the game yesterday, shared a conversation he had in getting ready for the game with Brian Callahan, the Bengals offensive coordinator, who said that Tennessee, in a complimentary way, he said this, that Tennessee, in his opinion, was an AFC North kind of team. And that's who they are. But you're right, as far as who you got to play every year. And look, you know, Cleveland has certainly had the Bengals number the last couple of years, whether that happens a second time. We're a couple of weeks off from that game. But the other area I want to ask you about, and I don't know if it's fair, because, look, there's some people that really like Tannehill. There's some people that think Tannehill's just okay and he's a game manager and all those kinds of things. The secondaries play yesterday. We know they shut down Henry in the run game. What were your impressions as they're starting to piece together the personnel and who's going to play, who's not going to play in that secondary because, look, we know who they're playing this coming week, right? The Chiefs know they have to face Burrow, but the Bengals know they have to face Mahomes.
I like the secondary, bro. I thought Eli Apple made play after play yesterday. I think there was the out route with the tight end that I know he got turned around on. It's football. The Cam Taylor-Britt plays 2 weeks in a row. I'm sorry. He didn't happen to him last week, but the week prior to that, remember he goes for the jump ball. He's there with the guy like in his first action. I'm going to tell you one thing about Cam Taylor-Britt and Eli Apple too. When you're watching the games and when you're there at the games, because I was there for one of those games, I don't know if there's a corner hitting like him. When he was drafted, I was told he was the most physical cornerback, coming out of the draft. And I'm not a big college football guy, but he put the wood on Derrick Henry yesterday, and he hit. Coverage standpoint, yes. I don't believe that the Bengals are elite coverage, right? But take away the 60, 70-yard screen, Tannehill throws for, 220 or something like that?
Yeah.
I thought he played a pretty good game, quick trigger. Tannehill's not a bum. You know what I'm saying? But take that same Titans team just 2 weeks ago. Had they had Tannehill in that game, they probably would have dropped the Chiefs off by 7-10 points. Malik Willis plays and only throws, 5-10 times or something like that?
That's right.
And they end up losing the game or whatever. But Tannehill is only let me tell you what happens when the Bengals play somebody. Whenever anybody plays the Bengals after the game, they say, oh, well, this team wasn't really whatever. By DVOA standpoint, the Titans were like a top 3 team, scoring points per red zone efficiency, run defense, all these different things. After we beat them, it's just the Titans. They're going to do that until the Bengals win a championship. And then when they get a championship, they're going to say, oh, well, you only got one. You see what I'm saying? It's a never-lasting thing. But as far as the cornerback play goes, it's not elite. It is one of the weaknesses of the team. And I think a bigger weakness is the lack of pass rush. And I think the pass rush will aid those guys in coverage. I do think that the secondary, though, however, are really good tacklers. And I really like the way that they play mistake-free football. And, you saw it happen to the kid for the Titans on Christian Fulton and McCready. There's going to be some jump balls. Treylon Burks is a big guy. He's going to get some of those. It happens. It's a 50. I like to think that sooner or later we're going to get a couple of those. But, we're not getting beat, getting pass baits, stuff like that. Those are the things I'm really looking for. If you win in 50-50 balls, it is what it is to me. And I didn't think that the Titans played the game that they wanted to play. And as a defensive coordinator, that's what you want to do. Get them out of what they want to do.
Well, I'm not going to call you, Zim, the lone voice in the wilderness, but you are a woodsy sort of man, as we've talked about many, many times before. And if you weren't the only one out there, you were one of very few who said all along, just keep your eye on the Bengalis.
Man, I'm telling you, look, one thing you're going to find about me is if just like I came on the show and told you about Jonah Williams, I'm going to tell you if somebody isn't playing well, when I tell you that this team is the most dangerous team in football, that's from a lover of football. Can they be beat? Hell yeah, they could get beat. The referees could beat us. The referees almost
you
took us
always complain about the officials, Zim. Good Lord. You got to let that stuff go.
All right, be for real. We could be beat, but I'm telling you right now, as far as the eye test without Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon, you put up you don't forget the field goal at the end negated the field goal, right there. Had you needed a touchdown, you probably could have got it. You put up damn near 30 points on the Titans.
That's right.
Yep. And that's one of the better defense. That's a top 3 defense to me. And that's what I do know. And I don't think the Bengals struggle at any point in that game moving the football. The 2 drives, the one got negated with the Chris Evans offensive pass interference one, and then the other call too. They never had a chance driving. And then when they did have the punt, Drew Chrisman came through.
Yeah,
Drew
he did.
Chrisman season.
He had a
Maybe
really
it's almost
good
close
game.
to Christmas.
Yep.
Great
game.
game.
He had a really good
game.
He was booming. There's no doubt.
He was 8 yards deep in our end zone and sent it to their 40. That is crazy field switch. They had 4 red zone trips, 3 field goals and 1 missed field goal. That's championship football.
Yes,
right
it
there.
is. There's no doubt. And that has been the one constant through this whole thing outside of the one game against Cleveland. the one constant for this team, where there's been some ebbs and flows offensively, although trending in the right direction, the defense has been fantastic. There's no doubt about it. All right, Zim, we're going to let you go. We're going to have you back at the end of the week, if you're able, to really get into previewing the Bengals v. Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead on Sunday.
I would love to talk about that game. It's a big game, Thom. Big game.
It's a big game.
I'm going to tell you, though, I expect to win. I expect to win.
All right. Zim, you're the man. I just want to make sure that game, yeah. No. I'm sorry. It's here on Sunday. Forgive me. I don't know what the heck I'm thinking about. It's here. Are you coming back to that game, by the way, before we let you go?
Thom, I'll come back. I ever tell you the time I was there? Look, I'm going to tell you something. If you're struggling with any Bengals, I was down 21-3 at Arrowhead. 21-3. Nothing but red around me. I look around, the guys like, oh, like everybody's laughing. They were dancing in my face. I was down 21-3. I'm going to tell everybody, look, I look right ahead of me, one row ahead of me. You know who was there?
Who?
Coach Burrow. He looked at me. I gave him this wink, and it was go time from there. And I ain't looked back since. I was down 21-3 at Arrowhead. Coach Burrow did that for me. And after that, we had drinks. We celebrated, and we said, hey, tell them people, don't ever doubt the Bengals or never estimate the heart of a champion. Don't you ever do it.
You're the man, Zim. We love you, buddy. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch up at the end of the week.
Peace out.
Amen. That's the man right there.